Alright guys, so we are back to another tutorial in here in Cisco Packet Tracer. So in this Packet Tracer tutorial we are going to configure VLAN and also sub interface. As you can see, I do have a two PC is 10 and also PC number 20. So PC number 20 will be my VLAN 20 and PC number 10 will be my VLAN 10. So let's make a connection fast Ethernet to the switch number 20, that's the 20 PC, and I'll take another straight through cable to, I'm going to connect the port number 10, that's the way I remember is connected to the VLAN 10. And then I'll take another connection to connect to the switch to the gig 0/1. So this is my topology, and also as you can see I do have a VLAN 20 IP address 192.168.20./24 and also VLAN 10 in my right side. I do have a 10 subnet. So our goal is to the VLAN whole purpose to separate a broadcast domain, which is L2 broadcast separation, and also in the top layer 3, which is router on the stick, because this physical cable there will be two default gateway for two different PC, two different subnet. So single cable we are making two different gateway. So in the router interface, as you can see my right side, I do have a gig 0/0.10. So we make a logical interface and then we'll assign IP address, and that's for our VLAN 10. And this is going to be happen exactly same thing for my VLAN 20. As you can see, gig 00/.20, that's the logical interface, and my IP address, and then get out from here, right? So as you can see that the single router is going to give a route between two different subnet, and we are separating in the single switch by VLAN. So in the switch, what we are going to do, we are going to create a VLAN. So we're going to configure VLAN enabled and configure terminal, right? So little bit typo. And then once you put the terminal, then we are going to assign this interface as access port. So let's do how we do interface Ethernet 0/ I would say 20. I mean, my case is a fast Ethernet, this should be F, but let's keep it for simplicity because this is example. We are going to configure switch port mode access VLAN 20. That's my left side red VLAN, which is my left side PC, right? So since I have switch port access VLAN 20, but VLAN is not exist, so we have to configure VLAN, right? So before you assign to the access port, so VLAN 20 I would say name a red, right? So that should be VLAN 20 for the red, and the right side I'm going to create the same exact replica like a VLAN 10. It will be orange. So now let's go to our PC, and I'm going to go IP configuration. I'm going to assign 192.168.20.100, right? And the subnet mask will be /24 default gateway 192.168.20.1, and I'm going to cross it out, and let's go for command prompt and say IP config, and as you can see 192.168.20.100. I'm going to do exactly same thing for my orange PC color one. I'm going to assign .100, and I have already did it. So let's go IP config, and as you can see 10.100, that's my VLAN 10, right? So they're connected to the same switch. So now I'm going back to the switch CLI, and once you come over here CLI, I'm going to say enable, right? So I'm in the right mode. I'll say show VLAN. Right now you see that every single port in the single VLAN in the large broadcast domain, we are going to separate them. So by default 1200 and 1,345, those are default VLAN we're never going to touch. So we are going to say VLAN 20, right? After VLAN, if you put shift question mark, and as you can see I can assign VLAN number 1 to 4096, but our case VLAN 20, name red, and enter, right? So I'll create another one later. So red VLAN and VLAN is active, but there's no port, right? Because everything is by default port number 1. So we have to configure fast Ethernet 0/20 and make sure this is under VLAN 20. So how are we going to do? So let's take a look. So we are going to enter first interface. So interface fast Ethernet 0/20, and then I'm going to say switchboard mode access, the single command, switchboard access VLAN 20. So I will hit enter, and now if I say show VLAN, and as you can see, the 20 and port number is, that's the way you separate broadcast domain in the 20, right? So now I'm going to do exactly same thing for the PC 10, which is it's connected to fast Ethernet 10, right? So I'll say VLAN 10. We have to create first VLAN. For VLAN 10 name, I'll say orange and end. So typo and then I'm going check, and if you see the VLAN 10 is there's no port has been assigned yet, right? So right now is empty, as you can see. So we'll do exactly same configuration like we did the port 20. We are going to apply same concept, same configuration under interface 10. So I'll say configure terminal interface fast Ethernet 10, right? And as soon as it's here, then it will switchboard mode access, switchboard access VLAN 10, switchboard access, switchboard mode access, and then hit enter. So that's the 2 line you just have to add it. So now if I said show VLAN, and look at that, VLAN 10, and there's a fast Ethernet 0/1. So this is the way you separate the broadcast domain per VLAN. So if you say show run in your switch, and as you can see 0/10 under VLAN 10 and 0/20 under VLAN 20. So they are separate by VLAN number. So that's the way separate broadcast domain. So let's go back to the router. Configure T. We need to configure 2 sub interface. We did the layer 2 logical separation. We have to do layer 3 also logical separation. This logical separation of broadcast in the layer 3, it's called sub interface or router on the stick sometimes. Show IP interface brief. It will give me the gigabit Ethernet 0/0 nothing. So we are going to configure it. Interface gig 0/0. After 0/0, I have to put a .20. So we have to make a logical interface. Okay. So let's do it again. Interface .20, and if I hit enter, you see that it become config sub interface. So single physical interface we logically separate for VLAN 20. That's the logical interface. Encapsulation .1q, and then you have to put the VLAN number. In our case, if you put shift question mark, you can see that it's asking for VLAN number 20. We are going to assign IP address now. And IP address will be 192.168.20.1, and the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Hit enter, and I will say no shutdown. Exactly, we are going to do same thing for the VLAN 10, right? So you see the logical under physical. There's a logic. Right now is administrative shut it down, but we'll say no shutdown in the main interface. Everything will come back. So I will say let's do config T. And once you do the config T, then we will assign same thing for I have already assigned, as you can see, for the VLAN 10 and IP address .10. So now what we are going to do, we are going to go back to the PC and we'll ping the default gateway, and also we'll ping vice versa. But before we ping though, we have missing one more configuration. It is the switch, a trunk port. We have to allow the VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. If you don't allow, the switch doesn't know how to forward traffic to the router. So you only configure whenever the trunking port when you allow more than one VLAN to the single interface. That case you have to configure trunk. It's pretty simple and straightforward. We're going to configure the trunk port. It's not that complicated. So go back to the switch. It's a show interface status. If you run this command, it will tell you what is connected to the which port. You see the connected 10. If you go connected 20, and if you hit enter your keyboard, gig 00, we are going to make it trunk port because this is connected to this router in the upstream. That's a pretty simple interface, gig 0/1, and hit enter. Just put switch port mode shift question mark, and you see that it's no longer access port, we no longer dynamic, we will say trunk. So that means, hey, you have to carry more than one VLAN to the upstream. That's the case, you have to configure trunk. So now if I say switch port trunk shift question mark, nothing there. So we have to say switch port trunk, I believe switch port trunk shift question mark. Here you go. The allow, because we have to allow all the VLAN in our case. I will say allow shift question mark again. As you can see the VLAN, either you can type manually VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, or I will say allow everything for simplicity. Okay, so we are not adding to the existing VLAN of the switch, we are allowing everything. So no matter what 4096 VLAN that switch comes up with by default, everything will be allowed. So I will say hit enter. That's it. That's all you need in the trunk port, nothing else, no shutdown. And now if I go back to the PC number 20, which is a red, I'm going to ping his default gateway first, and then we are going to ping vice versa, red to orange, orange to red. But all the traffic is going to go through the switch and come back to the router. So you see that I have ping his default gateway. Let's put .10. I can ping .10 also, right? And now switch back to the .100. Okay, first ping is going to be fail because of the ARP resolution, and you see that the successfully 4 packets is output, right? So if I go IP config, so I'm in the VLAN number 20, right? Now if I go right side, which is the orange PC, what I'm going to do, orange PC, we're going to test it. We're going to ping left side. Make sure we have a right. So 192.168.20.100 is my left side PC IP address, and here you go. So this is the video. So I would say watch the video and practice yourself, and it should be perfect. Practice will make you perfect.